Your best innovation ideas are not losing to bad ideas. They're losing to exhaustion. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but after 30 years making billion-dollar innovation decisions as the CTO at HP and my current job as the CEO at Cable Labs, I thought I understood why good ideas failed. It was market timing or technical challenges or resource constraints, people, time, and money. Now, sometimes that was the case, but most times I was just flat out wrong. We've created an innovation economy that's too innovative to innovate. Let me repeat that. We've created an innovation economy that's too innovative to innovate. And if you're wondering why your breakthrough ideas keep getting ignored, dismissed, or tabled for later review, this video will show you the real reason. I'm going to reveal why even brilliant ideas are dying from attention scarcity, not their merit, and why this crisis will determine which companies dominate the next decade. Monday, I shared the complete story over my Studio Notes newsletter about how I first discovered this crisis at HP. For a comprehensive analysis and its implications for your company, please visit the link. It'll be down in the show notes below. In this episode, I am going to share with you a practical framework for recognizing and addressing this problem within your organization. And believe me, this is an incredibly hard problem. Let's start with the math that's breaking everybody's brain. Every C-suite leader I know is evaluating 40 plus innovation proposals monthly. Get that. More than 40 innovation proposals monthly. That's what they tell me when I ask why good ideas are getting ignored. That's 2 per business day, every day, without a break. However, what's happening psychologically is that decision makers are developing reflexive skepticism towards all innovation claims simply as a survival mechanism. Now, it's not cynical, it's cognitive self-defense against proposal overload. In conversations with dozens of executives over the past year, nearly 3/4 of them tell me they have innovation fatigue, and it's become their top decision challenge. Think about that. The problem isn't a lack of innovation. The problem is too much innovation. Good ideas are dying not from merit evaluation, but for attention competition. We've created an innovation economy where there's the sheer volume of innovation prevents genuine innovation from ever emerging. And here's the irony. I'm using the same overloaded language that is part of the problem. When every idea is described as revolutionary, the words lose all meaning. Last month alone, I was pitched 23 revolutionary AI solutions. Most were solid ideas with real potential, but none got the attention they deserved because my brain had already tagged them as the innovation noise before I could even properly evaluate their merit. And that's when it hit me. Is someone whose job is literally to analyze innovation decisions can't focus properly? What chance do overwhelmed executives have? The cruel mathematics are simple. Breakthrough ideas need deep consideration, but executives only have bandwidth for surface level evaluation. Let me show you exactly how this plays out in the real world. At HP, I first discovered this when I was running HP's Innovation Program Office, what we called IPO. It was part of my Office of the CTO. The IPO was HP's dedicated engine for identifying, incubating, and launching breakthrough technologies that would become the company's future growth drivers. We had frameworks, we had plenty of funding, and we had really smart and brilliant people. It was a great team. Harvard and Stanford now teach case studies about the HP IPO and our process design. If you're interested in those case studies, links are over on the Substack Studio Notes. But here's what those case studies miss entirely. We were drowning. HP's Innovation Program Office received more than 3,000 ideas and pitches every year. That's 3,000 ideas and pitches every year. This was nearly 15 years ago. That volume has just continued to explode. Think about that number. That was nearly 60 new innovation opportunities hitting our desk every week, each claiming to be a breakthrough, each demanding evaluation, each potentially containing that next billion-dollar opportunity for HP. No team, no matter how smart, no matter how well-resourced, can properly evaluate 3,000 innovation ideas annually. The mathematics are impossible. Fatigue became our constant battle. We would clear 50 proposals in 1 week, only to find 65 new ones waiting for the next week. It felt like trying to empty the ocean with a bucket. We built sophisticated tools. We created evaluation frameworks. We hired brilliant people and we trained them extensively. But underneath all of our sophisticated processes was a gnawing feeling that haunted every decision. Somewhere in there of those 3,000 ideas were genuine breakthroughs that we weren't giving it the proper attention. I remember one particularly brutal month. We'd evaluated around 250 innovation pitches. By week 3, I caught myself skimming proposals that deserved hours of consideration. And by week 4, I was unconsciously looking for reasons to say no rather than for reasons to say yes. And that's when I realized the system had broken me. And if it could break someone whose job was literally to find breakthrough innovation, it was breaking everyone. And the most painful part, years later, I would occasionally encounter innovations in the market that looked suspiciously familiar. Ideas that had been buried in our pipeline, dismissed not because they lacked merit, but because they arrived during a week when we were too overwhelmed to give them the attention they deserved. We had built the most sophisticated innovation evaluation process in corporate America, and it was systematically filtering out the very breakthroughs it was designed to find because of this fatigue. Now, it wasn't because of the frameworks, but because human attention has limits, and there's no framework that can overcome that. That HP experience taught me to recognize the pattern. Since then, I've worked with dozens of companies facing the same crises. Now, the scale varies. Some see 500 pitches annually, maybe a startup. Other large multinationals, they can see 5,000 or 6,000 ideas a month. But the attention mathematics always breaks the same way. Through analyzing failures across multiple companies, I've identified 3 distinct types of innovation fatigue destroying breakthrough potential. Type number 1, executive innovation fatigue. Now, what's the symptom? Senior leaders developing reflexive skepticism towards all innovation pitches, regardless of merit. Now, here's what's happening. The overpromised, under-deliver cycle of innovation has trained executives to expect disappointment from innovation investments. After being burned by revolutionary solutions that delivered only incremental improvements, leaders develop cognitive firewalls against innovation enthusiasm. I recently spoke with a Fortune 500 CEO who instituted a company-wide moratorium. That moratorium was no more innovation pitches for 6 months. We are drowning in breakthrough promises and starving for actual execution. Now, this wasn't an anti-innovation leadership. This was a smart executive recognizing that innovation overload was preventing innovation success. What's the impact? Even legitimate breakthroughs get dismissed as more innovation theater before receiving proper evaluation. The best ideas are getting ignored. Type 2, team innovation fatigue. What's the symptom look like? Innovation teams are burning out from launching initiatives that constantly get killed or ignored during the evaluation process. So, what's the cause? Organizations creating continuous innovation pressure without building the decision infrastructure to evaluate and support breakthrough ideas properly. At HP's IPO, we watched our most creative evaluators essentially stop fighting for the breakthrough ideas. Now, when I pushed back and I asked why, one told me, quote, "We're processing 60 pitches a week. You learn to spot the safe bets quickly. Fighting for the true revolutionary ones takes a lot of energy, and I don't have any more of it. This is innovation death by 1,000 small compromises." So, what's the impact? The best innovators leave for companies with more explicit innovation mandates and better decision making processes. And then, type 3 of the fatigue is market innovation fatigue. So, what's the symptom? Customers and investors, the marketplace in general, become increasingly skeptical of innovation claims, treating all breakthrough announcements with equal skepticism. So, what's the cause? Let's face it, the word revolutionary has lost the whole meaning through overuse, and I'm just as guilty of that. Every product launch, every startup pitch, every feature update is positioned as game changing innovation. Just consider how the term AI powered became the new cloud enabled, which is meaningless market speak that signals nothing about actual innovation value. When everything is revolutionary, nothing is revolutionary. So, what's the impact? Actual breakthroughs struggle to differentiate from incremental improvements because the market has developed immunity to innovation language. So, this isn't just another innovation challenge we can solve with better processes, better frameworks, more resources. This crisis is fundamentally different from anything we've ever faced before. Historically, innovation slows down for resource problems. Companies couldn't innovate because they lacked money, they lacked talent, they lacked technology, they lacked investors. The solution was always to invest more resources in innovation capability. Today's crisis is a problem of attention and focus scarcity in an abundance economy. We have unlimited innovation opportunities and limited cognitive bandwidth to evaluate them properly. More resources will not solve the attention mathematics. Just consider the trend. Innovation proposals are growing exponentially, but human decision-making bandwidth remains constant. So here's the real danger. We're not innovation starved, we're innovation overwhelmed. Breakthrough opportunities are getting lost in the noise of marginal improvements. However, here's the opportunity. The companies that figure out attention allocation will dominate the next decade, while everyone else struggles with their own innovation successes, meaning their pipeline is overwhelming them. This isn't about having better ideas, it's not about having more ideas. It's about being heard above the innovation noise. And most organizations have no systematic approach to cutting through their own opportunity abundance. So, what are you going to do about this? Let me share a practical framework I use with companies to diagnose and address innovation fatigue. Step 1, count your innovation inputs. I bet you don't know what your number is. Track everything hitting your innovation pipeline for 1 month. That's ideas, that's pitches, proposals, quick conversations at a conference about some breakthrough opportunity. You will be shocked by the number. Step 2, calculate your innovation capacity. How many innovation decisions can your team properly evaluate monthly? Not skim, properly evaluate. Be brutally honest about the time quality evaluation requires. Step 3, identify the attention gap. Subtract your capacity from your inputs. That gap is where breakthrough ideas go to die. And step 4, design attention triage. Develop a systematic methods to quickly identify the 10% of ideas that warrant in-depth evaluation. Process is not going to be perfect, but it needs to be systematic. And then step 5, build decision infrastructure. Most companies have innovation processes, but no decision infrastructure. These are different things. It's not just about innovation process. You have to have an infrastructure and a framework to make decisions. Remember, the goal is not to evaluate everything. The goal is to evaluate the right things. Now, here's a hint. In my book, and I've talked about it in previous episodes, so you can go search for it. You can look at the FIRE framework that I use. I teach it in my workshops. We use it at Cable Labs. We use it at HP. Kroger uses it, Procter & Gamble. Literally 10,000, 20,000 corporations use the FIRE framework. The most important part of the FIRE framework that can help you identify and solve is the ranking process. There's chapters about it in the book, but you can also get it for free searching around both here and over in the podcast or over on the blog. Just search for Phil McKinney. Ranking, you'll get flooded. You can watch and read any of those. Ranking allows you to identify that top single-digit percentage of the ideas that you should spend your time on. You want to use a good ranking process. Mine's not perfect. Adapt it. In the book, I share you how I do it, and then how Kroger actually modified it for their particular purpose for the Kroger innovation team. So check it out. Now, with all of this, here's what I want you to do right now. Look at your innovation pipeline. How many ideas are you currently stalled, not because of lack of merit, but because nobody's attention bandwidth to evaluate them properly? If you're honest, it's probably most of them. Now, if you use the ranking process, you can actually start digging through that back bundle that you've got clogging up your innovation successes. Innovation fatigue is just one of 10 critical innovation decisions, framework challenges that nobody's addressing directly. Over the past month, I've identified the unspoken problems that determine where billion-dollar innovation bets either succeed or fail. Add your voice to choose which challenge I should cover in an upcoming episode. Should I reveal why smart teams kill their best ideas? How fear corrupts innovation thinking? Or why executives make terrible choices about breakthrough opportunities? Or what do we do with board of directors who are just totally dysfunctional when it comes to innovation? The voting is live right now in a special Studio Notes post over on Substack. So just look for Studio Notes, Phil McKinney, over on Substack. Find the link in the show notes below. And with that, this week, going through the next week, I'll do a complete analysis of everything, all the voting, and in a future episode, I will do it based on what you choose. Now, Monday's complete analysis of this innovation fatigue concept, including the case studies I couldn't share here, is in this week's regular Studio Notes over on Substack. You can find all the links in the description or in the show notes. The companies that master innovation decisions while their competitors remain overwhelmed will write the next chapter of business history. Which chapter will your company write? If you want to improve the thinking behind your innovation decisions between the choices you make, check out our video on critical thinking skills. It's been by far our most popular video this year, and I'll make sure to put a link down below. If topics like today are what you are looking for, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell. It helps a ton with the algorithm. I release new thinking and decision framework videos and podcasts every week that transform how you approach problems and opportunities. For deeper behind-the-scenes insights and the nitty-gritty stories of my discussions and challenges with board of directors or with partners like Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer, you want to check that out over on Studio Notes. That's where I reveal the nitty gritty behind the scenes stories. The world needs innovators who can find the needle in the haystack. Hopefully today I've given you some tools, some skills, some frameworks to help you be the one to find that next needle. Now go out, find that needle, and let me know what you find. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.